Alright, so from here, we've got the Childers Eatery behind me over this way. And then the Jacaranda Yoga is actually on this side, the bridge. And we're gonna go on the trail. So the pups are on the two leashes, which are tied together like right here. And so the path ahead, whenever I get on the longboard, these girls, like, they just get so excited. But I don't want to take off too fast because there's a lot out ahead. Come on, let's go. Chloe always takes off like a head of steam, so trying to subdue excitement. That's my fat foot preventing us from taking off too fast. But now we're on the way. This is the Rock Island Greenway. So at a certain point, I'll probably have to just stop and let them go so that I can just slow down. But this is kind of always how it starts. So I'm just hoping that this is actually a really nice path. Kiwi has a lot longer nails. She does not let me trim them very well, like she used to. It's not me, right? I haven't done this perfectly. But she has a much more clanking in her way of running. Yeah, this is definitely a very nice way of transportation and getting the dogs worn out. So I like to come down and get a nice little low perspective angle. She's a good girl, Chloe. Good girl. Good girl. So I'm barely even holding on to the leash. Just in the middle. They're actually like tethered to each other. But I've done this so often, some people say like, oh, they're too afraid to like jump on the longboard and be pulled. It's kind of like being attached to the back of a boat, if you will. Kind of like riding the waves. Like their energy, it's going to wear out, unlike a boat, right? You just all you gotta do is put gasoline in the boat. But these pups, they don't really know their limitations. They just want to run and run and run, and everything's new, and the scent hounds just perpetuate that to exhaustion, to absolute exhaustion. So I kind of want to see how long. I'm not going to be able to really push Chloe to her full extent, but I will be able to push Kiwi to hers. She's already like flagging pretty intensely, so the back of the rope is quite a bit. Highlighting it very well, but it's definitely like fully stretched. So I think now's a good time to kind of pull back and slow down. We'll get to the bottom of this it's kind of been a gradual little decline out to more of a flat area. Slowed down dramatically now, right? And I know at the end of this road it should be the Peoria Heights main junction where there's a Brienzo's, like it's a pizza joint. They do a lot of music on Saturdays, things like that. But I'm gonna let go of the leash here, let them kind of come in, see what Kiwi has to do. She just wants to lay down. And we come to the side of the road. But we got the kicks, the board, and the pups. You good, Kiwi? See, look at her back legs. She's just shaking. Are you running so hard? You just running so hard? Huh? No matter how far we go, you gotta remember too that these dogs are gonna have to make it all the way back too. But as I do understand, mostly there's a dog park down here too. Should be about halfway between where we left and Peoria Heights. So I'm gonna try and keep my eye out for that. It's nothing like the Laura Bradley Park, dog park. But it's a Sunday, so hopefully there's gonna be quite a bit more people there, or dogs there rather. That's more the concern than the dogs, than the people, I should say. But, you know, see, Chloe's still like eager. Yeah, she wants a break too. And she's gonna be thirsty now, like beyond thirsty. But Kiwi's gonna, okay, are we ready? Are we real? So at this point, I'll just like look at the path. There's really nothing out ahead and not much coming up behind me other than a guy that's walking. So what I want to do now is, as opposed to pull Kiwi forward, I'm going to put the rest of Chloe's energy to the test. You know, her harness, we'll call it her harness, right? I keep calling it a jacket. So her harness will avoid having to rely solely on pulling on her neck. You know, this allows her whole chest to get a workout. But this is more like Chloe's gonna have to be the full energy that's left. And now I got the leash a lot longer, so I can kind of allow her to lead a bit more. If she will. Go on, Chloe, go. Go. Let's go. Even Kiwi off the leash is pulling. Come on, let's go. Let's go. So I may have been wrong. The dog park may be south of this, because this looks like the Peoria Junction. I could be wrong. Like I said, never been here before. Crouching down here on the longboard to get the low shot. Kiwi, favorite girl in the world back here. Alright, let's stand up on her out ahead. So let's take a pause. Alright, so push the button. So I need to walk across this the right way. Hey, Kiwi, come here. Get out of the road. So we're at Roger Burr. Okay, Chloe's tripping me up here. Roger Burgia Honorary Way. So, it says no motor vehicles. And there goes Kiwi rolling in the grass. Okay, you guys ready? Come on. Come on. You don't want. Come on. Let's go. So I was wrong. This isn't the Peoria Heights Junction, but come on, Chloe. Come here. Come here. You too tired? Huh? Is that what's going on? You fighting me? We gotta go get some water. Hey, come on. Come. Yeah, she does not want to come right now. All right, I'm gonna pause and look at the map and see how far we gotta go. Like the dog park, and nobody's here, but hopefully we have some water to take advantage of. So let's drive into the grass. Full on brakes. Alright, so there's the Peoria Heights tower behind there. Alright, I see a little faucet in there, so I'm gonna go investigate. There you go. Good girl. She's so tired. Get some water. I presume that this fountain is so low because it's intended for the dogs. But yeah, she's not exactly the Rhodesian Ridgeback variety that can go a lot longer without water and is more susceptible and used to the heat. So she's taking it all in. Good girl. She's a good girl. Good girl, Kiwi. Get some more water. Bless me. Just holding down the button. Oh. Stop holding the button. But yeah, this is very handy. This is nice. Although it definitely could have a better, more abundant stream of water. But that's me being too choosy, I suppose. I think it's probably an appropriate flow of water to not provoke or not allow for too much waste. That's what I'm trying to say. So Kiwi's got this little tiny sliver of shade over there. Taking advantage of the shade, Kiwi. It's funny because she usually prefers to bask in the sun. And yeah, at the point of exhaustion though, things change, don't they? Oh, she's a good girl. Being a good girl, sweetie. A little extreme zoom for us. My sweet girl. Huh? Kiwi, you being good? You see your bottom of your feet? That's the thing too, is I learned when Kiwi was a pup, like, bottoms of her feet would wear out and sometimes it would break her paws because this pavement, especially when we were out in Washington, Spokane, Washington specifically. The pavement, the blacktop would just get so hot. It was like really black. This path isn't as hot as that, but it still tracks heat like no other. So, for the sakes of the bottoms of Chloe's feet, I'm going to do a quick check with her as well and see what we're working with. Alright, so this one should be mic'd up now. The mic. The dogs are certainly worn out. I'm going to attach this up here. So anyway, I've got this Peoria Heights. It's probably on this side of me now. But the Peoria Heights tower, water tower, or it doesn't really look like a water tower, but it's some sort of tower behind me. It's like called Durya, D-U-R-Y-E-A dog park. Sunday, hot, sure, not as hot as it's been though. I'm definitely grateful for a little bit cooler. In my car it said 84 degrees, so it's definitely not the worst. But you know, kind of sad to find that like nobody's here. You know, it's always a little bit frustrating to know that there's something like this that's just not being essentially taken advantage of, or it's taken for granted just existing here. But it's very well placed, you know, for someone like myself who is have like my dogs out and there is water here. It is a little centerpiece. So Kiwi and Chloe so far is very successful. We're probably beyond a mile down the way already. And I don't really want to push this too much further, to be honest. But just beyond here is going to be Peoria Heights Center. So if I were to continue on, which like I said, I'm probably not going to today for the sakes of the heat, you know, taking into account all these other things, it's important to take care of the dogs first, right? To not push them all the way beyond. Chloe, come here. Good girl. Come here. And call her over. We'll do a quick check of her paws. She seems fine, like she's in high spirits. Come here. Good girl. But this flooring is really, it's rocky. Yeah, you pretty tired? Let me just check your paws, okay? Yeah. Yeah, you're pushing yourself too, huh? You're pushing yourself. You don't know any better, huh? But yeah, Chloe's definitely pushed to her limit. She's over there where Kiwi was, hanging out in the shade. And I guess if there is a part of the story to really like share at this point, it's just to recognize and realize that eventually I also have hit my wall. I'm gonna go find a new spot to set this. I can kind of walk at a distance or do something a little bit more dynamic with the camera for the sakes of the camera. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna put it at the other side, like more the entrance. So you're still getting the Peoria Heights Tower, still get the power lines directly up and above. But yeah, there's the tower. Put it in the shade. You can kind of probably hear the crunching. We'll place this right there. And kind of, I don't know, you might be able to see the dogs from that angle. Come on, guys. Come on. Good girls. Good girls. Hey, will you sit? Oh, you're so good, especially when you're all worn out. You shake? Shake. 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 She's like, no. So they both want to go make a nest over there, right where the camera is in that shade, right next to the intro. But what was I saying? So when we get to the point of exhaustion, we're really like, I don't know, hopefully looking for what comes out of us at that point, like what's most important usually. So there was this one moment in time for me where, you know, I seek and search so diligently for, we'll call it truth for right now, right? Like something to be revealed. And when you're not really finding necessarily a quote answer, but your exposure to specific things becomes quite a bit more evident. So that evidence that's been revealed definitely like then provokes something. So when you're at a physical exhaustion, when you're at the very bottom of the barrel, no more fuel left in the tank, or whatever metaphorical, you know, analogy you want to assume here, it kind of comes to this paradoxical struggle of, well, if I can't utilize my energy, the physical part of me, then what energy is really left in its place? And so that's kind of what happened to me, was that like all of this physical energy, it was actually mental effort, but it took a lot out of me. I dedicated so many hours of my life to doing video projects and stuff, where I would just sit there in like very extreme concentration and like intentionally listening, and like all of this dedication to something brand new, which is essentially like just the internet, the digital world that I was kind of not familiar with. For, I can't really put it any different than that. That's all it really was. So when you're there and you have nothing else to do, there's a breaking point, or you actually engage. And at like certain specific moments, I guess there's quite a few to really narrow in on, but I'd say the very first breaking point, when the energies and like the frequencies that were around me were taking up all my energy, and I didn't know or have the ability to temper my expectation of everything that was like so far down the path, right? I was just running like Chloe had just now, like all the way to exhaustion, until all I can do is sit there and take in all the water, to refill up. But it was like to no avail, essentially. I'm still like exhausted. I'm still unable to do so much and give so much back, that there was like this season between that exhaustion point and me picking up again, me picking up the creative indulgence again. And this is a very necessary part of like the season, where it's important to realize, recognize, I don't know which word to really choose here. From a distance I can see this tower, for instance, when I drove up here in, may have been probably early January this year. And I remember coming up here and the snow was all over the place. There wasn't a single moment in time when I first came to this area, which wasn't on this side. I had no idea about this, right? But I was on the other side in the neighborhoods and in the communities. I had coffee with a friend, and I just made a conscious decision that no matter what, like I was gonna come and find out what was more intimate to this space and the brand new nature of it. So it's not necessarily just because it's brand new, but it's because I'd also hit a breaking point, an exhaustion point, if you will, from before, a frustration. All right, that's probably enough from that angle, I don't know. I'm kind of bored with that angle. It's not really that sufficient. Here, let's try this one for size. From right on top of the trash can. All right. So again, back to the exhaustion point, when we're at the end of the road, when we're at the path, we're like Chloe was, right? So excited for something new, or just like the opportunity to get out, and like we run ourselves dead. There becomes a season of just like, we gotta sit in one place. We gotta sit here for a moment and just appreciate and take in. I think for me, this was an opportunity to live with my dad, but I was living in his basement. I was, the first couple months, I really just had to like soak in what had actually occurred and not take it for granted. Really like appreciate and take in the lesson that had been taught. Because what had actually happened to me, just like this, standing below all these power lines, it was like a frequency just came in and completely like knocked me deaf, blind, and dumb. Like literally deaf, blind, and dumb. It was like such a foreign experience, like something you can't imagine. It's just like the biblical version of all those stories about sound and this harmonization of my spirit with like what is, if you will. Not to go off too much on this tangent of like a biblical association with these, because I understand that certain people are very resistant to that, especially people in my universe. But it kind of comes down to the opportunity to finally experience something that I didn't realize I was actually seeking or searching for. It's kind of like you go about walking a path in search of something, expectant of something, and then that very, very thing is not even close to what actually occurs. It's not even close to what you actually experience. And instead, you just completely come in contact with something so profound, so energetic, so big and vast and powerful that, you know, instantly I become like that of a little tiny pebble in a sea of pebbles, right? Like my right-sized response is to cower away and recognize I got nothing else to give. Okay, I heard you finally. Okay, I'm hearing, like I'm trying to, I was like putting in so much effort throughout that season of exhaustion and physically pedaling myself toward some path, some destination, some finish line like I'd always done before, running a race, you know, a 5K or whatever else it was, my 3-mile races in high school. But during, you know, the season, I was actually training by running 9 to 10 miles a day, you know, a mile warm up, then like an 8-mile cycle of pace, trying to maintain the best pace. And then like a mile cool down, for instance. But that was at the peak, right? I was always working up to doing a 10-mile daily practice in my cross-country year of like my sophomore year, my 10th year of schooling. Well, what does it mean to take a rest? And what happens when in the space between that moment of exhaustion and this like constant change, when I'm like otherwise like in a small little pen, like a little observable space that's just off the path. Like all these people, they keep going and coming in whatever direction they choose. They get the opportunity to keep exploring all the things that are all along the trail. Meanwhile, I'm at this point of exhaustion and we get to sit here in this freaking rocky mess of nothing vegetative, right? My rock is nothing amidst all of this pebbles and bullshit. All these people. I don't even get to commingle with everybody, you know, riding along the path and enjoying it. Nope, I'm here like Kiwi, old 10-year-old dog, 70 years. If you want to account for every dog experiences 7 years of life within our 1 year. But nonetheless, like, right, she's 10 and she's out here worn the flip out, like all the way to the bottom, and no longer willing to just go along to follow the path in either direction. Okay, yeah, I know what's down that road because I can check the map, but I really got to account for how much further do I really need to keep pushing myself in order to realize that I am exactly where I need to frickin' be. Why can't I just recognize myself as this like tiny little pebble? What is the power of this pebble? I don't know. I really don't know that I've ever or will ever fully understand that. Maybe I'm going to maintain that as an opportunity or possibility to do so. But when we get to this point, when we're sitting behind the lines and we just get to observe everybody else coming and going and walking along in their own direction, and not just for the sakes of walking in that direction, but I also had to observe, well, they get to walk in these directions and ride along the path with the other people together. So what is it that's preventing me from doing that? What is it about my perpetual desire for truth and actualization, or any of the other things that, you know, kind of became in accordance with my efforts and my work and my studies, and my diligence, my everything, my passions? And where did it get me? To this place. To a dog park filled with no other dogs and no other people. I brought exactly what I already had at home. I've experienced Donovan Park. I've experienced Laura Bradley Park. I've experienced little, you know, faculties of Peoria thus far. But if I'm not fully diligently taking in what is new, if I'm not willing to just kind of like breezily take the path in, then what have I learned other than the euphoria of riding downhill, allowing the ride, right? I love being on the longboard. I love the first little pull. Everything's really easy pulling out when you're all stirred up and you got all the energy there, right at the whim. But that only occurs, that only happens when we have a series of days or specific time to just be. to just center, become right size, and recognize that with as much as I have created, with as much effort as I have put forward, with as much energy that I have to give, I'll always just be this little pebble amongst pebbles. It's humbling. It's definitely humbling. Kiwi, come here. Come on. We come out of here? Let's go. So, now we've got a little bit of an opportunity to recognize, okay, well, are we ready to go yet? Are we ready to take off from here? To continue back? And more importantly, when we consider returning to the beginning, at what pace do I really need to push myself? And for what purpose am I pushing myself at that level? Like, when we finally get to this point of exhaustion, which I don't have to, but I want to give these dogs a little bit more opportunity to take in the water before we get back on, because this is going to be a slower journey back. We're going to walk and pace ourselves. They're not fully recovered. The open wounds and the soreness on the bottom of my feet are still worn out. Not mine, the dogs, because I was spoiled myself, right, with riding the longboard. And as much as I want to fly the drone right now from this spot, it's not really necessary. I got it out, I loaded up the battery, but really, like right now, I'm just kind of realizing that's not really the point of all of this. It's not really the focus. It's to highlight that these dogs and this animal and these experiences and this ability to just kind of like get myself out of the usual, which I do want to do. I want to be home. I want to be putting my like full efforts forward for the sakes of my own creative projects, for creating my book, the things that I've been putting out there and teasing, yet nobody really gives a shit about, because we're also entrenched in our own lives. And who am I to expect that would be any different of anybody else to really give me the opportunity to teach somebody something? After all, what have I ever taught anybody else in my time with them individually? The people that I'm most close to or have spent the most time with, they know me for who I actually am in their own perspective, in their own mindsets. But they don't account for all the changes that have been occurring for me on the invisible front, at the level of actual transformation, which occurs below the surface. It's not just the putting on of a little bit more weight, which has definitely occurred. It's not just because my eyes have been lit up, or I got a new pair of glasses, like they're prescription, but like my sun ones, like the different frames that occur in my eyes. But do they really see and hear a difference in my words, in my commitment to like bring something brand new to the front? Because that only occurs, from my humble opinion, after the point of exhaustion, when I was otherwise expectant of something different and transformative to occur. It's by staying in the same place. No, I perpetuated the cycle. I stayed in one place for 3 years, again, for the last 3 years living in Utah. And when I left, everybody asked me the same question: oh, do you have family there? And I got so annoyed, because it's not just one person asking me that question. And I hesitated to tell anybody at work when I got my transfer request, for example, that I was actually leaving, because there was going to be a season between there. And as much as information is divulged to a greater whole in the community of people, what reveals is like everybody else's mental process around such an idea, if they were to do or have the same opportunity as I was being given, which was to leave and to start in a brand new area. And the only question that kept perpetuating, or kept cycling from everybody to me, it just got so annoying, if I can just be so blunt to say this, but that's so annoying. Do you have family there? Because the tribe of Utah, the sphere of Utah, not just for this reason, because it is a universal truth, and I respect it, and I definitely adhere to it, because it is a true thing. Do you have family there? Is the question. And I didn't want to be honest at the time with every single individual as they said it, and so it just kind of became no. Because the real truth, the real reason for me leaving was because, yes, I did have family in Utah. And in fact, that was a big part of my own hindrance to keep exploring and keep taking advantage of the time and becoming more effective in the utility of my time and the utility of my efforts to create the things that I actually needed to create, which was one, space for the new puppy that I'd taken on, for sure. Yeah, but that wasn't really the initial thing. It was also because I hadn't even picked up my drone. I hadn't even picked up my GoPros. I hadn't even picked up my phone. I hadn't invested in a new piece of equipment like this microphone, the lapel microphone. And all these 3 years of living there, I was just trying to get myself back on my own 2 feet, for crying out loud. It was my extenuating time of grief, recovering from the pain of losing my own father and my grandparents. Living amidst and, back there. The universe had reoriented me and said, hey, you need to spend a little bit more time understanding where you actually came from. Because the uncomplicated version and answer to the question, where are you from, is I was born into a family within the roots, the very firm roots of Utah traditions. And that was in the form of my grandparents in the LDS Church, the Latter-day Saints, or for the layman, the Mormons, that have traveled from Illinois, the Nauvoo, coming from Palmyra, New York, to Nauvoo, Illinois, and to this is the place, land of Utah Valley. And so at the core, when I looked back and I looked not just at what I'd created and all these things, I was kind of grieving in the process that had taken place and all my creativity, which was kind of all under the umbrella of Knox, N-A-H-X. I had to observe this one really so profound thing about my word, Knox, N-A-H-X, that really just, it blew me away when I really fully felt this and saw this and understood this and maybe why it existed in the first place. Knox is because if you turn that lowercase n upside down, it becomes a U. And if you turn that X 90 degrees to the side, it becomes a T. And if you reorient the letters of A and H, instead of in the middle, but to the end, allowing that cross, that T, to move up. The U, the cross, and the AH of Knox became Utah. It became Utah. My 4-letter word was a 4-letter word that already existed in this world. It was just recreated because of my own distortions and realities and aversions and preferences and everything else in between that made up who I actually was at the core. And it's just 4 letters distorted in lieu of my truth. That my name is Joshua. I was born in Utah to this family and this parent, and amongst these siblings, and all the things that have occurred along the points of exhaustion along the way came as a result of the suffering life. And this is really the full story. Yeah, I can narrow it down and I can just say, whew, I want to be back on the path. I want to keep enduring the cycle and the karmic influence of whatever's going to come in. Well, what's the karmic influence is this place. The place of unknowing, unintelligibility, undecipherable, misunderstanding. And I only really understand where I'm at when I look back. Not forward. Not forward into the nothingness of extenuating points of exhaustion, but from recounting what has actually occurred and the resemblance of these 2 very profound things, Utah and Knox. And so we need to get more water, right? We need to get more water before we continue on. Take it in slow. See, Chloe's she's still hogging the water. Kiwi is an older, mature dog. She's allowing it. She's waiting her turn. Kiwi, get some water. See, she's still she's limping. She's got a sore knee like I have a sore knee. But her dedication to keeping up with me and doing her best to put forth as much effort as is necessary to go along, no matter how hard the journey is. She stays so close and she does everything for me. She just maintains her willingness to go about and stay along. Meanwhile, Chloe, in her very first series and stages of full exhaustion, to where the recovery process is much more selfish. No matter how long I hold down this button and give her water, she will continue to just keep indulging in the water, thinking it's going to last, and actually, I don't know, help fix what's actually occurring, that her lower paws might actually feel any better. But it's really just all mental. She doesn't know that yet. She just feels it more intensely because she's younger. She's a puppy. Her sensitivities are much more sensitive, like that of a baby. So we let go of the button, right? Kiwi, come here. Kiwi, come on. Chloe, come on. I'm gonna put Chloe behind this fence so I can allow Kiwi to get some. Hey, Chloe, let's go. Chloe, come on, let's go. Let's go. So lead her into this little, I need to give her her own little independent separation because she doesn't know to let Kiwi get her sustenance. And Kiwi's too patient. Hey, come on, get some water. Get some water. Good girl. See, Chloe's gonna whine in the background. Get some water, Kiwi, get some water. You don't even want it. You don't think that you need it, but you deserve it. Hey, Kiwi, get some water, more water. Hey, drink, Kiwi. Hey, will you drink from the fountain? Drink from the fountain. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. That's a good girl. Okay. See, Kiwi's, or Chloe's rather, is just sitting over there like jealous. She wants more water. So yes, this is a long video, long string of words. And a big, very profound part of the real, full story of not just explaining, okay, well, why is this guy in Peoria? Why did he leave? Why doesn't he want to, observe, we've got a family tradition of going up to the property, for instance, this weekend. And the Holdaway, my dad's family side, they have their family reunion, or would have had their family reunion. I'm not even sure if they still will do it anymore. But my July 4th, my new traditions are going to be very different than that. And I think that's got to be okay. So I think we're ready to take it slow. I'll ride on the longboard up to the light, and then we'll be walking after that. So anyhow, keeping Kiwi off the leash, leaving the little dog park, the in-between space. Like, the eagerness of Chloe is definitely evident, and Kiwi, you gotta take into account, like, look at this, like, she wants to be slower, doesn't want to, but she has to, because she's at a point of exhaustion, and it would be inhumane to expect her to try and keep up with the puppies. So thank you for listening to my rant today. Peace be with you. Have a great day. Come here, baby. Come here. Come here, sweetie. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl, baby. Kiwi. Kiwi, come on. Come. Come here. All right, so at the 7-mile marker, I'm actually going to walk backwards for a little bit from where we're actually going. Let the pups or Kiwi kind of explore some of this vegetation. It's along the Greenway. Kiwi, come on. Come on, girl. This is right up here we just passed. And I kept thinking, I'm like, should I? Why? So there's so much thought. And I'm like, okay, let's stop. We need to go back and record this because I do like this message. And I just went by it too fast. So it kind of hit itself appropriately. And it says, life's too short, so love the one you got. So I just wanted to circle back real quick, put down what is, and backtrack for just a brief time. Just take in the ambiance of the trail for a second. Hey. Kiwi. Come on, baby. Good girl. All right, we made it back to the bridge. Kiwi's coming up finally too. Did you catch up, baby? Did you catch up? Good girl. Kiwi, Kiwi. She's like, I know where we're at. Okay, we're not actually done yet, but we're back in the parking lot, and Chloe's definitely showing how ready she is to go. But we haven't done our final shot, which is going up over the bridge back to Donovan Park. Skies look a little gray over there, but really we have quite a beautiful sky going on, and so I gotta go put these extra tools away, so that goes back in the truck. Oh, I forgot to lock the car. Go figure. Not that surprising, I guess. All right. Longboard's back in. Let's close her up. Chloe, come here. Chloe, come on. We're almost done, okay? Good girls. All right, Kiwi. Let's go do our last shot. All right, so it's pretty evident that on a Sunday afternoon, of all the parts of this trail that have been busy, this is definitely the busiest. So it's going to prove a little tricky to film precisely the way that I would like to, but nonetheless, over here, Donovan Park, coming up on the bridge, coming up over Knoxville. So Knoxville there, Childers Eatery, and coming into the main of the path. So again, like right beyond the grate there is going to be Knoxville Avenue and that entrance that we came in to go to Donovan Park. These people are going to have to observe the filming, so I'm going to try to keep them out of the shot though. But as we come up over the path, the dogs being in complete exhaustion, I think I mostly just want to discover exactly what part of, or highlight that there might be on either side of the bridge, right? Because just like we were talking about before, or at some point in this video, however it gets edited, I'm not sure yet, but you know, you're coming from one or of either direction, generally speaking, on the north end or the south end in this instance. So from this perspective of like the south end, which I'm heading from now to the north end, you know, I got to see the shops and, you know, the main trailhead. But on the north end, you're already in the park, if you will. But here is Junction City on this side, and where Knoxville kind of starts to bend and merge over here, which would be specifically north, directly north, with Sherman, I think is what it's called. Not 100% certain yet, but so wheels yield the heels. We're off the wheels now, so we can kind of just be more observant of that. There's some some of the billboards, Adams billboards right here. Sheridan Nursery, For Every Blooming Thing, Pet Perfect, gardening and pets. Precisely what a big part of what I'm all about. But I see a pavilion right up here off the path, but it's kind of like blending into that of Donovan Park, and not too far from where we originally had flown the drone. So I don't know if it's the most ideal spot, but I think we'll just go hang out there for a second. Kiwi, watch out. These dogs are so exhausted right now. So when we get to these parky areas and off leash, especially when Chloe's tired, I'll just leave them to be tethered together so that they can kind of learn to follow each other. Come on. That's what I did with Chloe as a puppy with Kiwi. Now Chloe's much larger, obviously, and can more effectively pull Kiwi rather than the other way around. But nonetheless, I think it kind of helped promote their bonding and allowing them to, for one, not be such a nuisance to my efforts walking a puppy again, delegating that role to Kiwi, but also, you know, for them to have that bond and kinship between the two of them. It actually happened pretty quick between Kiwi and Chloe. I mean, even though Kiwi's been an extremely independent dog for the majority of her life, you know, because she had a litter perhaps and has been a mother and had to tolerate Sunshine, her puppy that I kept for quite a bit of time, and she was able to spend a lot of time with at certain junctions. Even when Sunshine was with my sister, I just definitely took or helped get them together. They're exhausted. I'm gonna get them off their leash now. If I can. Okay, good girl. Kiwi, good girl. There's some water over here, okay? Come on. That's why we wanted to come explore a little bit further too. I've got water. Come here. Come on. Oh. More substantial water. Oh, look at that. There we go. Way better. Come here. Hey, okay, hey, right here. Chloe. Alright, whatever. Get some water. Good girl. Chloe. Come on. Get out of there. Right here. Right here. There you go. That's better. That's nice. Very nice. I'll let them kind of indulge in that water for a bit. Come over here and take a look at another one of these statues. It's called Sweet Like Lemonade. Sweet Like Lemonade. Pretty cool stone, definitely a better angle than like the Prometheus one that we had last time. But like I said, these are all around this park, and it's pretty cool actually. A nice location. This is what we're looking at, right at the base of the bridge. It says Sweet Like Lemonade explores the layers and duality of decision through indecision, false comfort and a fear of the unknown. The seated figure is blindfold but interacts with a small yellow bird as if she is not. The expanse of drapery and cushioning she perches on serves to accentuate her state of comfort and complacency. So even there, still staring at the bird. She says it's yellow. I guess if you get up close, it does have some subtle yellow to it now. It's probably worn quite a bit. But yeah, the blindfold's definitely quite revealing. Pretty cool little statue. Good girl, Chloe. Good girl. So yeah, we'll go back over here to the pavilion. Kiwi, what did you walk through? Your paws are all muddy. Look at your paws. They're all muddy. I'm gonna have to wash it off now. Chloe's in the same boat too, huh? Alright, so I do think it's worth the while to do a little drone flight today. Not like the same length as before, but since we're under this pavilion and we're really not that far removed. In fact, I gotta get something out of this pack right behind us. Sorry. The microphone that's attached to my phone. This is the Rode microphone attachment, and then the lapel mic need to go off because I have to use that USB port for phones. I wonder, like, just with that thought, like in the future, if they'll start actually creating phones with multiple, like we have multiple USB ports on PCs now, if they'll actually start creating multiple ports on phones with longer cords than these like tiny things, to like truly reveal more evidently that these devices are not just for telephone usage, they are computers in of themselves. Completely capable of doing all the absurd nonsense as the majority of all other devices. So I don't recall actually charging much of this from before, but looks like we're connected up on that, and I just kind of think that getting this thing up in the air and walking up over the bridge back to the car will be a pretty cool little way to go about finishing this walk today. Chloe. So, alright. It says take off with caution. Obviously I'm underneath the pavilion, so I will be bringing it out. From there we won't get too much of the risk of hitting too much stuff. So that's fairly centered. Probably a better center position. And I'm going to cut here. So there's the drone, and we're going to be walking up and along that path. Let's keep the dogs off the leash for the most part.